Hello and welcome to Late Edition. Tonight on the show, we will talk about dealing with the pollution menace in Delhi, the possible solutions and what is the way forward. We are hearing several petitions seeking a complete ban on diesel cars in the national capital. The Supreme Court today asked the state and central government to come up with a solution or a clear-cut plan to clean Delhi's air. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and on Late Edition tonight, we have a very esteemed panel, and I introduce my panel first. We have Sangram Patnaik ji with us on Late Edition. He's Advocate Supreme Court. Thank you very much, Mr. Patnaik, for being with us. We also have Prabir Purkayastha from Delhi Science Forum. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And also on my left, Professor Bharat Desai, eminent environmentalist. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. And before we actually start the discussion, let's first understand the story in perspective. The two major developments of the day vis-a-vis when we talk about the big pollution debate confronting national capital New Delhi. And as I mentioned earlier, the Supreme Court today indicated to increase ECC or environment cess from 700 to 1400 on two-axle vehicles and from 1300 to 2600 on four-axle commercial vehicles entering Delhi. The court also agreed with the suggestion of amicus curiae that for time being, SUV and diesel cars with more than 2000 cc engine should not be registered by Delhi government. Well, though the light diesel commercial vehicles they are supposed to be exempted from this. And on the other contentious issue on odd-even mechanism that has been proposed by the Delhi government, the court said that to implement this particular mechanism, court is not too sure if this is the only solution. Court has said that this odd-even mechanism is one of the measures. CJI also in fact observed today that he would not hesitate as far as carpool measure is concerned, and court has asked the court registry to provide bicycle stand. Today now, just to start the discussion, Mr. Patnaik, let me come to you. If one has to understand the overall deliverables as far as today's Supreme Court observations are concerned, although we're expecting a formal order tomorrow, what are your initial thoughts on it? Is it really coming hard on the centre and state to come up with the possible solution?
See, according to me, this is a step in the right direction. Ultimately, end of the day, if everything failed, that is how the court intervenes. Now, from 700 to 1400, and for that, for the two axle and for the commercial vehicles to 1300 to 2600, I would suggest that this is one of the right measures that has been taken, at least the first step in the right direction. That's according to me. But what the time would say and what would be the performance, of course, it would be after, maybe a month or two, people would come to know that whether it is harsh or whether people cannot tolerate anymore. So all those things, time can only speak. That's my personal take on it.
Oh, your initial thoughts on it. Prabirji, well, there's been a lot of debate on this odd-even mechanism as has been proposed by the Delhi government. And if you look at the court's wordings, well, it says that it's for the Delhi government to implement, but at the same time, this is one of the measures, not the only way forward. What do you read into that? Because at least as far as this clause is concerned, it's got a direct bearing on a common man, on Aam Aadmi.
See, I think we have to also understand that suppose I ban odd-even cars on alternate days as it has been proposed, what does the person who is now using a car, what he should do? So what obviously needs to be done is extension of public transport. Now, which is the only way you can actually discourage people from using cars. This is a sort of rough measure to force people to start using public transport. But we also need to then upgrade the public transport in Delhi. The second problem we have is, unfortunately, the pollution is not a border issue. So therefore, you cannot stop pollution from entering from the national capital region. We have to treat it as a much wider case. And it's not an issue of Delhi government alone. We need to really treat it at the national level because Ghaziabad, Gurgaon, Faridabad, it's not very different from the kind of air quality we say in Delhi. There's no point in only talking about Delhi. So I think we need to have a look at the larger policies of discouraging diesel vehicles for private use. And I think that's something we need to do either through taxation or other measures. And the fact that we are doing it 15, 20 years down the line from when it was introduced is a failure of policy, which, as Patnaik says, that that's when the courts have to intervene. So this is really a blatant failure of policy that we are seeing.
blatant failure of policy and the repercussions of it that confronts the people of national capital, if I may put it that way. But at the same time, since Prabirji talked about the conversion of diesel vehicles into, as far as that particular debate is concerned, now today's Supreme Court's observation clearly mentions that the conversion of diesel cabs into CNG, Delhi government has to provide financial assistance. Now, will it be implemented on ground? Because it's not only about that, there are a lot of other issues related to this conversion of the vehicles.
Well, I think, it's a right time, that the Supreme Court of India took the things into its own hands, because originally the court has been dealing with this vehicular pollution case, in the famous MC Mehta case for many years, For a while, it did bring about a radical change in Delhi with the introduction of the CNG vehicles and other things. Delhi government was very supportive, and it created a lot of ruckus in Delhi, where the Supreme Court had to undertake registration of vehicles in its own hands, and the registry had to be open in Supreme Court premises. There was so much resistance, and we thought that, well, it will really work wonders, and it did for a while. The Delhi's air was clean, Thereafter, it seemed the Delhi government took it very easily, and a lot of kind of a latitude was given, and they did not take the follow-up measures which ought to have been put into place, which my other panelists have rightly mentioned, and I think that is what we are now witnessing, the cumulative effect of those failures, not following up, not taking things seriously, because court can be a catalyst, court can provide a trigger, court cannot do things, implementation of the policy on its own, Court has been really playing that role. The apex court of the court of India itself has been looking after those things. It's basically a policy failure, which has been rightly mentioned by Mr. Purkayastha also, that there is no dearth of legislation, there is no dearth of the judicial supervision and everything, but that means there is a lack of implementation, which I'm sure the Supreme Court has rightly taken a due cognizance, a serious cognizance, and I'm sure that the way in which we are saddled with the very alarming situation in the city of Delhi, which we witness a cocktail of those pollutants, not only within the city itself, but also from the neighboring towns also. I'm sure the court has to take it to the logical conclusion.
You talked about pollutants. Now, every second day, you have these reports talking about the extent of air pollution, particularly in Delhi. Now, one of the reports talked about the air toxicity in Delhi is 14 times above limit. Now, how alarming could this be? When you get up in the morning and every second day you have a front page story, whether it's graphically presented or pictures, I mean, what worse can we really wait for? I mean, 14 times is no less number.
Absolutely.
As an environmentalist.
Yeah, I think it's really a failure, of the entire machinery, enforcement machinery, which is very much there, and the legislations are also very relatively stringent. And now you have an architecture of the National Green Tribunal, which is directly could be instrumental in providing that kind of radical measures. And I'm sure that since this is being addressed at the two level, both by the National Green Tribunal as well as by the Supreme Court of India, I'm sure that they have to take things to task, and try to fix the responsibility.
Okay, fix the responsibility. In terms of NGT, it's come very tough on Delhi government, other agencies also in terms of, following these norms and rules. But why now? Why have we suddenly, for that matter, NGT or anybody for that matter, all the stakeholders, we've certainly risen to the fact that now the time has come that all this needs to be done. But what is being done in actuality? NGT's perspective, sir.
Yeah. My take on this is that first, we lack in that, education that yes, if I cross this limit, I have to be penalized this, right? That should be, everybody should know that that is the implementation of law, one. What should be the penalty?
Basically the deterrence you're talking.
Absolutely. And if one knows about it, then probably one would be very vigilant, one. Number two, there are enough law in our country. It's not that we do not have law in place. Implementation, like my friend just now pointed out, implementation. Now, implementation at what point of time? Suppose, for example, selling of diesel car. Why you would allow even the manufacture, right? It is stored and there are so many of piling of these cars, it is not being sold, that's a total chaos. Now, you don't allow it. Now, suppose, as per this figure, I was going across that figure, that the 7.5% the toxic emission is more in the diesel vehicle.
7.5 times.
7.5
for
times.
particulate matter.
Yes, yes.
Nitrous oxide even higher.
Absolutely correct. Now I am stand corrected, 7.5 times. Now, if that is so, why we haven't thought of it since last 20 years or a decade even, right? We allowed it to happen. It is we who are responsible for every bit of this pollution today what we are facing. It is just blown out of the proportion today that yes, how it happened, and suddenly the government, the stakeholders woke up, the NGT is in action. Now tell me who is to be blamed? It is we. We knew about it. This is going to happen. Still, we continue with the diesel cars, right? It's not that diesel cars are manufactured today, or it is being sold for the private use or the public use today.
Cumulative responsibility?
I would differ with Mr. Patnaik on this one. I think this we let somebody off the hook. I think the we is squarely the government, which started actually an assault on diesel by diesel pricing, essentially. They wanted to do away with diesel subsidy. They couldn't do it because there would be too much of a resistance from particularly the peasantry. Therefore, they are little more subtle way of doing it is let diesel private vehicles come. So the subsidy for diesel is also enjoyed by the private persons, rich people who buy their SUVs. So this was actually an assault on the diesel subsidy, but done in a different way. Unfortunately, we as the people, we could not prevent it and we did not fight against it till we have reached a toxic level of 13 times, 14 times what it should be. So now it's woken everybody up. But the structural problem is really diesel private cars, and we know that they are far more polluting, particularly in urban traffic that we are seeing, and they should only be should have been only used for public transport.
What are the
or for other
challenges that
places.
you see? Okay, having said that, what are the challenges that you see? I'll ask you this only. In terms of containing, in terms of arresting this alarming fallout of uncontrolled use of diesel vehicles, although the court has come heavily, but will that be actually implemented at the ground level? Well, that's the big question.
The question is, for the court is not a body which should be actually examining how to do policy, because they can only do firefighting. They can only point out to certain things. They cannot take a holistic view that may be or is required for this. Let's start with diesel vehicles. If we want diesel vehicles to continue, we should do away with private diesel vehicles for sure. If we want diesel vehicles not to be polluting, even for public use, we have to also look at what diesel is being used. Therefore, the kind of standards for diesel that we have to improve, because currently the diesel that we are using itself has problems.
Right, sir.
The third thing is the engines that we allow. We have now what I call Euro 4 standards, BS4 standards. We have to go to Euro 6 standards.
Yes.
Let's be very clear. Diesel is going to be more polluting. The Volkswagen case, other diesel manufacturers in Europe show that cheating seems to be the way they're meeting Euro 6.
All
So
right,
those
all
are
right.
the problems.
Bharaji, I'm going to have your view on it, but before that, let's also understand the NGT's perspective on it and what NGT, the National Green Tribunal, has to say. In fact, today, in a very important development, the National Green Tribunal issued notices to Central Pollution Control Board. It issued notices to Environment Ministry, Road and Transport Ministry, as well as the Delhi government. Well, is that enough? NGT has asked them to give their suggestions, their plan of action regarding a ban on the registration of the diesel vehicles. Diesel car manufacturers, remember, they had moved the NGT seeking modification of their earlier order. Last Friday, in fact, NGT directed the Delhi government not to register any diesel vehicle till 6th of January. Now, the NGT order dated December 11 came a week after the Delhi government announced it would allow private cars on its roads only on alternate days from 1st of January to reduce air pollution. The National Green Tribunal will now hear the diesel car ban issued tomorrow. All right, so having said that, Bharatji, where is this going as far as the NGT's hard push is concerned? Are there any takers for it? How much can it have an impact? Who is answerable to NGT, and is NGT really, empowered to come up with a stringent measure in terms of implementation of these orders?
Well, of course, NGT has the powers under those 7 legislations which are given in the schedule itself is concerned, and the NGT's competence, so the powers are quite I would say adequate enough, which can provide compensation in restitution, for the environmental harm which is sought to be because it's headed by a former judge of the Supreme Court of India, is as experts and the judicial members also. So it is there, of course, the final appeal would lie from NGT to the Supreme Court of India. But I think one of the issue which has really triggered the current crisis, it could be many factors which are a lot of other multiple stakeholders or other interest group could be responsible, because we knew very well that the diesel is going to be the problematic, you know, and the pricing policy which was sought to be done earlier, because they gave a lot of subsidy for diesel, and diesel, now the increasing reports show that diesel is carcinogenic, you know. So it's not merely diesel which is culprit, it's entirely the fossil fuels where you can say it's a beginning of the end. So far the fossil fuel is concerned, like we saw in the recently the Paris COP21 also. So that the countdown has started. The diesel could be one of the first thing which has to be taken out.
This is one of the
contributor factors. Now, so far the CNG is concerned, CNG does contribute little bit also, but the pricing policy really differentiated. The CNG has been undermined, where you do not give enough incentive for the people to switch to CNG, you know. Although we have had the different public buses like the Tata Marco Polo collaboration for those buses and other things, but we did not push it beyond a point. Large number of other private vehicles did not, because the CNG became more and more expensive. The Delhi government itself tried to take more and more tax on it. So the pricing policy also works, you know, and also a lot of other factors which are the contributing factors for the. We never ever thought about putting some ceiling on the registration of vehicles in Delhi, you know.
Why?
Because it cannot be. Because I think it should be done. Like Delhi, always it was being thought that the Delhi has more vehicles than you know, Kolkata, Chennai, and Mumbai put together,
when,
you know.
when Delhi shares a dubious distinction of being,
Most polluted.
you know, the most toxic capital besides other international
So
cities
we should
are
have
looking
done
at.
that. We should have put a cap on the number of vehicles, which not only like what the court is trying to say, to discourage all the trucks and the vehicles which have nothing to do with Delhi not to enter Delhi, for instance. We should have kept them at bay rather than taking a shortcut.
The
And also
question is keeping them at bay.
those vehicles which are coming, you know.
But
Yeah.
keeping them at bay, you need to construct Delhi bypass.
Exactly.
So it becomes a transportation issue.
So multiple,
it is not only a Delhi issue. The second thing is you may restrict registration in Delhi, but will you stop Haryana cars from entering, UP cars from entering, Rajasthan cars from entering? That's why I was saying that you really need to take a look at the larger diesel car issue. And why only Delhi? There are at least 25 cities whose air quality is not very different from Delhi. Okay, CSE figures are there, and most of the cities don't even measure particulate matter of 2.5, including Gurgaon. So here we are, which is a much larger problem, and Delhi is sort of somehow is much more in the eye, because Supreme Court and the Green Tribunal both are in Delhi, so they do see what's happening. But the point is that it's really a much larger policy failure, and we need to address the larger policy failure that has occurred. And I would suggest that these are all temporary palliative measures. We need to look at diesel, we need to look at diesel vehicles and the engine norms that are there. We also need to look at whether we allow diesel vehicles to be used for private purposes. You can see diesel private vehicles are not only cheaper to use because of fuel differentials, higher efficiency, but you seem to see much larger cars, SUVs, all using diesel.
Right.
So you have this double hammer of diesel pollution, which is one, you use diesel, which is more polluting, 7.5 times, nitrous oxide even up to 20 times. And then you have the issue that you are using much bigger vehicles. All the bigger SUVs, almost all of them, are diesel, not petrol. So you have this double problem that you are seeing.
And that would,
all of
in
this
fact,
is known.
trigger a different debate altogether.
No,
when
but
you
that
talk
is
about
the
big
debate we have
SUVs.
to have. That is
Absolutely.
really the debate we have to have.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
public transport. You
All right,
have to
I'm
do away
coming
with
to the public transport thing now.
And you have to do with the private transport. Sorry.
Public transport for an Aam Aadmi, if you not really get into the legal jargons and what God has said, but for an Aam Aadmi, I mean, how difficult it is now going to be, because do we really have a robust public transport system in place? Agreed, we have metro. Now one has to imagine the kind of volume, because if odd even mechanism is implemented, everybody is questioning, how do I go to work? Is it really feasible? It's a lower middle class or a middle class, Indian middle class, working class, government officers, those who have to commute from Delhi to Gurgaon and other NCT. How does this really take place? Because this needs a lot of planning. Do we have all mechanisms in place? I'm talking about public transport.
Yeah. See, I would say Delhi is not yet ready. So far as odd and even number to ban, it's not yet ready, because one, suppose for example, I being a lawyer, I have to go to the court every morning. Now, if I have 3 vehicles, number, right, or even number, now can I reach to the court in time? And if I have to depend upon the public transport, whether it is in place, not like other countries. Like, you know, if you go to Singapore and now you ask that, yes, why do you buy the second car, the third car? You have to explain, you have to give a reason, then you have to pay 50% more tax.
Accountability is there, answerability is there. Because you have a deterrent. We don't have a deterrent here.
That is one. Number two, the public transport is not in place at all. Even the, you know, suppose Sundar Nagar to Supreme Court. Tell me how to commute. Now, if you depend upon the taxi also, that is also that, you know, that is a polluting vehicle. It's not that the, you know, the vehicular traffic would be less. It is odd and even maybe. It sounds very, you know, I would say that, you know, odd and even is not going to solve the problem unless and until you have a public transport in place and a very competent one.
Yes.
Like if you go to London, if you are not having your own car or depending upon the taxi, you can still commute to the place as per your wish and the time. But here it would be, I don't know, that's my perception
Bharatji,
for the time
what's
being.
your take?
I think I would say this is the measures which are sought to be suggested. They seem to be very tinkering kind of a effect. You know, I would say it's like literally like, you know, trying to, you know, shut the windows while the doors have been kept open. You know, it has to be part of a larger policy making framework. You know, which will really make a dent on the problem which you seek to address. For instance, I think the very sheer registration of those large number of vehicles which enter, there has to be some cap, because you build constructed the flyovers and everywhere there are traffic jams, there are idling of vehicles, and a lot of those things are there. So you have to have a larger policy framework where you have a goal in mind, where you want to restrict, you know, because there are a lot of families and the places where you have 3 cars, 4 cars, you know, there are places which are overcrowded. That means you never ever thought about putting a city, because you cannot have unending situation. A city like Delhi, you know, which cannot have an unending situation, you know, because our society also is quite status conscious, where owning a car is a kind of a status. You need to draw the line somewhere. That, well, fine, so far the ceiling is concerned, and even if it displeases the automobile manufacturers or the fuel suppliers, whatever, you know, you have to bite the bullet. You have to take decisive steps. You know, court alone cannot do it. It's a policy failure, you know, which has to be squarely addressed both by the central government and also by the Delhi government.
Prabir-ji?
I think it's a bit of a catch-22. None of these measures are going to be popular. So you have to, if you bite the bullet, you will have unpopularity. And one of the reasons that the governments don't want to bite the bullet is precisely that. So you let the court bite the bullet for you. And that's what the abdication of policy has been in this country for quite some time.
So this debate, can Delhi have a Beijing-style response to dealing the air pollution?
I think we need a Delhi-style response to the air pollution. Let's stop talking about other solutions.
And what is that going to be? Well, this is a very serious issue.
I think that the odd and even number is a first step towards making private vehicles more unpopular.
So you're saying let's just do away with the reluctance and let's just get on to the nitty-gritties and just do it.
We have to take unpopular measures. I'm not going to satisfy myself or Mr. Patnaik. Both of us have the same problem. I come from Gurgaon to Delhi. Both of us have the same problem. But I recognize that there is no social solution which does not inconvenience us. But let's also be very clear that 10 to 15% of Delhi's people own private cars. 80 to 85% of people use private transport even today. So let's inconvenience the 10 to 15%, which is us. All of us here sitting here, and then we might look at a solution. So I'm quite happy to be inconvenienced. Without inconveniencing me, I don't think we have a public transport solution for Delhi. And yes, if you make all the policy makers, including the government servants, travel by public transport, you will improve the public transport.
So it's a civil society which has to take a call.
I think the society is represented at the moment by the courts, and the court is representing to your question. How can we live in a city which is 14 times higher in terms of pollution than what the safety norm says?
14 times than the safety, 14 times higher than the prescribed safety norm. Gentlemen, we need to wrap up the show, but before that, I'll just give 1 minute each in terms of way forward. Quick fire bullet points, 3 points from each of you. Way forward in terms of clearing the Delhi air vis-a-vis the Supreme Court's observations that have been made today. I'll start with you.
Okay, fine. As you know, my take would be that it's the beginning by the Supreme Court in a right direction. People may say that no, why Supreme Court should interfere in everything or the NGT should interfere. But it's the beginning in the right direction. Number 2, we must inculcate that habit of depending upon something other than your own vehicle. Number 3 is that, you know, the first and foremost, which I was thinking that should be my first point, it's that culture which is not in place and it should be supported by the government of the day, that the public transport. My friend is correct that no, 85% people still depend on the public transport. Now, I gave an example only that yes, how anybody for that matter in Delhi can commute. Suppose, for example, somebody has to go to the parliament. A MP has to reach the parliament. Which is that metro, which is that public transport will make him rich? I'm not talking about the commoner or the President of India, but it has to be in place for everyone. That's my suggestion, in fact.
Good public transport, we all agree on that, certainly. Discourage diesel vehicles, certainly. How to do it, which mechanism to use, certainly. The third part of it, it's not for the courts to decide.
But quickly, sir, in terms of challenges, now when you start implementing them on ground, the coordination as far as all stakeholders are concerned, you've got pollution board, transport
forget the
ministry,
stakeholders.
there's that.
Forget the stakeholders. Only one stakeholder, the people of Delhi and our children. That's a stakeholder. The car owners are not stakeholders. The manufacturers
I'm
of cars
talking
are
about
not
agencies
stakeholders.
in place.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I'm saying these are not stakeholders. Stakeholder is a very deceptive word. It means everybody is a stakeholder, those who pollute and those who don't.
So you're saying that do away with the reluctance and just follow the norms.
We have to come hard on this, and I would suggest that the court is not the right instrument of policy, because the court will take essentially what it can do. What you need to do is to really put policies in place. Girish Parikh committee six years back had suggested diesel cars should have a much higher tax. So all those measures you need to do at the national level. Let's not think it's a Delhi problem. It's not. Delhi is only start of the problem. The problem is everywhere except coastal cities where the air is relatively better.
An alarming national problem. Let's not confine to Delhi. Yes, Bharatji.
I think it's the challenge that we are facing is a failure of implementation of a lot of norms and the standards which are already available, and also it's the right thing that the Green Tribunal issued notice to the Central Pollution Control Board, which is sitting right in Delhi, that they should have been doing the monitoring, and they should have at least set the alarm bells ringing, and then some corrective measures should have been immediately put into place rather than taking this knee jerk and ad hoc kind of a reaction. So I'm sure that they will call them into question and then try to fix the responsibility and try to see that where did we falter, for instance, and also in a sense, that the Supreme Court of India has to keep a hawk eye and try to monitor like it did it earlier. And somehow it's a very predicament that we don't like the court to enter into the policy making arena, and still the policy makers, they want the court to bail the cat, because precisely it will be amount to unpopularity and taking those harsh measures which will really pinch us. But I'm sure that now we are reached to a stage where there is no kind of there is no other option but to take those actions, And finally, I would say, of course, the public transport in Delhi is a really very long pending thing, which has to be squarely addressed, must be tightened, and must be at times whenever you try to do those measures, maybe the public transport has to become free. If for instance, when to encourage people to resort to public transport,
right.
And finally, the individual choices, we need to also limit our needs. For instance, somewhere those people who can afford car, those who can
basically
really
somewhere draw
car,
the line and think
line
of the future generations, because the common denominator is air. It belongs to everyone, and we have to live to breathe and breathe to live. Thank you very much, our panelists, for joining us. Sangram Patnaik, the Supreme Court advocate, thank you very much. Prabir Purkayastha from Delhi Science Forum, and also Professor Bharat Desai, environmentalist. Thank you very much for joining us. As you just rightly put it, air toxicity in Delhi is 14 times more. So the problem doesn't really rest with how Delhi government is going to propose in terms of tackling it, and how centre, or for that matter, how Supreme Court is going to come up with the rules and provisions in terms of following it. But the big question is clearing the Delhi air, basically tackling the pollution menace. Well, on that note, we wrap it up here. Thank you very much for tuning into Late Edition on DD News. Meanwhile, news and updates continue on your national channel. Thank you and